Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UK League Championship, as now we get to kickstart our week 4 with the round of 8, and we'll be starting off with Diabolus versus Enclave. But before that, we did just have ourselves the tower rematch between Fnatic Rising and XL UK. XL were able to swing that game back after losing in the tower challenge last week versus Fnatic Rising, and they had been called out by Prospere, and they came back with a vengeance. They look so good there.
Absolutely, they looked so strong. I think Sendo, again, we talked so much about the issues he's had in previous splits. He looks on form. I think Gnar is now potentially going to be a bannable champion against XL. And that's the thing that's really difficult, is because there's so many champions that you're concerned about against that team. There's just not enough space in the draft to deal with them. And they're, for a good reason, they're now on top. They've shown a lot of flexibility, sort of G2-esque in the way that they can move champions around the game, make it hard to predict them. And I think that's where we've seen them at their best, is when you don't really have a clear idea coming into the draft where everything's going. The Sejuani go on support did kind of throw them off a bit, because obviously Gragas sort of out early game pressures a Sejuani in the jungle, but then instead they put that in the support. They took the Lee Sin, who has a lot more early fighting power, and I think it's just little things like that give you the edge. But still, the play from the team overall was really solid, and I'm happy to see that they shored up their mid game and late game issues.
And I'm really glad that our MVP is Sendo from the matchup to watch, because we were talking about how this guy is making a name for himself as the best top laner. You know, he's had a few lackluster seasons so far, and it's split, sorry, but he's actually really been showing up in this summer split, and XL have been looking all the better for it. They've got a really competent top laner there, and Sendo now piloting this Gnar. This feels like, you know, we're talking about things that need to be banned away. I feel like this Gnar might have to be a bannable thing from XL now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's so hard to deal with. It's got strong lane and power, and the team fights is monstrous. And a lot of people previous to split were sort of asking, why is XL held on a Sendo for such a long time? And we have the answer. Look at that last game, because I spoke to Ryan and said he has the potential. He has struggled to deliver, but he has started delivering this split, and it has made the whole team look so good.
Well, now that the Tower Challenge is done, let's have a little look at the bracket and see how everything will be shaping out for the rest of today. Obviously, we'll be starting off the week with Diabolus versus Enclave, then M&M versus Fnatic Rising, Barrage versus Envision, Demise versus Phelan coming up. So let's kind of take a moment to jump into our first matchup, which is going to be Diabolus versus Enclave.
Yeah, and I think on paper, this is probably the most one-sided of all the games, and that's not saying this is one-sided, that's just how close all the games are today. I think Enclave are sort of underestimated because they've struggled in the early weeks, and Diabolus have looked absolutely stellar, but I think there's absolutely potential for a fight to come out here. Enclave just need to find their footing, and this is the opportunity to do so.
Well, I'm hearing in my ear that we have a tweet to bring up. I believe it is from Enclave. I am correct, Areno, in thinking about that. We face a tough journey, but we are ready. We continue our fight in more hashtag UKLC. Make sure you use that hashtag. Summer split action at 6 p.m. The artwork by Alex Johnson.
Yeah, shout out to Alex. Great artwork done by her. So, yeah, it was pretty cool to see the tower, the knight in full form, and there was some artwork from last split where Enclave sort of went with the whole knight theme. I really like it. It looks really, really cool, and it
got
fits
ninjas,
well with
we
the
got devils,
tower.
we got knights, we've got
wolves. Yeah, we have lots of stuff.
We also have stats. Let's have a little look at PFI as a jungler who was formerly on Darkspawn. Now he's the Diabolus jungler. And it's kind of comparing PFI from spring and summer. He's played already almost as many games in this split as he played last split. And look at the win rate. Look at the KDA. Look at just the massive growth on this player. Now, the only thing that has gone down is his kill participation. But I feel like you can expand upon this.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that obviously across the board, the stats look better. But the big thing for me is because the kill participation is lower, that's the reason Diabolus picked him up, because he looked like he was being such a driving force for Darkspawn. Now on Diabolus, he doesn't have as much weight on his shoulders, which is why he's able to flourish. And he has teammates like the likes of Fury and Kakan who he can rely on, which is why, yes, his kill participation's dropped. That's because his team are able to pull their own weight a bit more.
Yeah, he's definitely stepped up, and, you know, not being the key player for the team, just being one of the key enablers for the team really allows for, you know, him to be a lot more comfortable and him to have a lot less weight on his shoulders, which means, you know, this Diabolus has been able to shine. And it's a point that I'm going to stop making now. This is going to be the last time I'm going to mention it, but we have talked about how at the beginning of the season, everybody put Diabolus down as being one of the worst teams. They've proven everyone wrong. I think at that point, I think this is where we just put this whole storyline to bed, because they've done well. I think they've had a great 3 weeks of consistency. I expect to see them keeping it up. They're versus Enclave as well. This is really the moment for Enclave to maybe upset the apple cart a little bit here.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that this is an opportunity to get onto the board and start upsetting teams who look strong. But Diabolus, a lot of people just put them at the bottom. They really are one of the potentially top 4 teams right now. And I think it's a hard task for Enclave to step up, but I know they're going to give it that all.
Well, let's have a little look at the first top 4 team. Obviously, like we said, it is going to be Diabolus on the blue side. Kakan in the top lane, PFI in the jungle, Fury in the mid, Dragdart ADC, and the Heathen as support.
Yeah, and then flying over to Enclave game, we have Rengus in the top lane, Scoot in the jungle, Beely mid, Kevo AD carry, and Raisins in a support role.
I think Raisins has been a player that's been quite fun to watch.
Yeah,
I think he's been one of the top performers.
His looks look so good. I believe it was when they played against Excel. I'm 95% sure, don't quote me on that. But his looks looked great. He was landing some really crucial bindings, and unfortunately he's been nerfed, but I think this is someone who has a lot of potential. And him and Kevo are the people who were kept on from the previous Enclave roster, and obviously Enclave saw that they had a lot of potential. It hasn't quite gelled together yet, this split, but they're still trying to hope to find this sort of momentum.
Well, while we're talking about that bot lane, while we're talking about that support role, our matchup to watch is going to be the Heathen versus Raisins. These two players have had some pretty stellar performances, especially for the Heathen, but I think Raisins, like we said, has been kind of one of the top players for Enclave so far.
Yeah, well, I think, to be honest, both of them have kind of been underpraised, underestimated. They've had some solid performances. I think the standout for me from the Heathen was when he looked for that all-in against XL and managed to take out Shannon, which he went for the flash hook on the Nautilus into a Lucian. That's not like a convincing play to go for, because a Lucian could easily just dash it and you've wasted your flash. But he went for it just knowing he would be able to find it. It shows a lot of confidence, and he's able to bring down the most experienced and decorated player in the whole of the UKC, and so it shows that he has a lot of confidence. He's able to make these big plays. And then Raisins, again, he's been around for a long time in UKC and taking a break. And I think after coming back, people sort of weren't too high in estimations for him. But he's definitely started to show that he is deserving of a lot of praise. And I'm excited to see how these two go head-to-head. Obviously, the big factor is going to be the AD carry comparison. But I feel like Kevo and Dragdart, I think Kevo is going to look to have more presence in the early game. But Dragdart, he has just looked to scale up consistently, but when he gets to later phases, he is an absolute monster.
Is it Dragdart who's basically only played Sivir and Ezreal exclusively?
Sivir, Ezreal, and now Xayah. He did get banned away from that, and that is a big talking point. If they push him off the Sivir, Ezreal onto the Xayah, he hasn't looked quite as comfortable, but if Sivir and Ezreal open, he just has looked so far to play those exclusively.
And this is why I want to get deep diving into the picks and bans, because I want to start seeing what's going to be denied, where the focus is going to be coming down from both of these teams. Because if you're Diabolus, who is the scariest person on Enclave? Who are you worried about? Who do you think could upset you? I have my idea who I think it actually might be. I legitimately think, and you never would have heard me say this in previous seasons, but I think Beely might be a player who...
I think Beely's looked really good, actually. I think on Darkspawn, it's a similar situation to PFI, in which Darkspawn looked like a rough roster for a lot of the players, but I think Beely didn't look great on Darkspawn, whereas PFI did, but on Enclave in a new setting, he's really started to flourish, and that may be down to having the supporting cast from his team to facilitate him, but he has looked a lot more formidable, so he is definitely a player to watch.
And keep in mind, this is the 914 where Renekton has now been changed. We've seen Beely pick it up as a counter to Yasuo. Fury has put a lot of emphasis on this Yasuo. Now, the way that Renekton works is the empowered W takes away the shield, then stuns, then applies the damage.
Yeah,
it's actually insane into Yasuo. Yasuo doesn't have a passive into Renekton at the moment.
That's actually so rough.
Yeah.
Because he could easily just dash in, empower W, and just melt through you. I think that's going to be a rough situation where Diabolus shouldn't pick Yasuo unless Renekton's banned. So it's going to be if Diabolus ban Renekton, then maybe Enclave decide to ban Yasuo. But until that point, I feel like you have this counter pick ready.
And Enclave are on the red side, which means if they see the Renekton get banned in that first phase, they just ban the Yasuo at that point.
And similarly, if the Yasuo gets picked, because one of the issues is that if Diabolus were on red side, they could pick up that Yasuo in the third pick and then ban away the Renekton, but that won't be possible in this situation.
And I'm very excited as we head into picks and bans. Diabolus on that blue side, Enclave on the red. That's going to be a Sona taken away, first of all.
Yeah, it's something that Enclave did play, the Sona plus X bot lane. Obviously, Tom's been changed quite a lot this patch, but there's still a lot of possibilities that you can do with that pick. And Sona AP carry on her own is pretty strong at the moment.
Yeah, I said it last week, but I was like, you don't have the damage. And then I just watched the Sona one-shot people for half an hour. So, yeah, that's pretty scary. There's going to be the Kiana ban. We haven't actually seen one in the UK so far. There were a few weeks where she's been disabled, but she has been up for at least 2 weeks so far. So interesting to see no one's really putting too much priority on that. Is there a reason for why we're not seeing the Kiana? Because I know other regions are playing it.
I think the big reason in game 1 was because it was such a high pressure game, and neither Exile and Fnatic had really had time to practice it, because it was very recent that we got the news it would be re-enabled, so they weren't able to practice too much in that champion. And you don't want to risk it in that situation because he is a pretty mechanical champion, but the win rate is huge. And I feel like Fury is someone who it will be in his wheelhouse, and if you can get ahead on that, I mean, I don't just mean the general win rate, the competitive win rate across all regions, I believe I was looking at it last week, was something around 80%, which is just absurd, and just means it is going to be likely be a really high contested pick. And I'm happy to see that Enclave have banned it away, because Fury absolutely is the sort of person to pick it up. But there's still a lot of things on the cards that haven't been touched. The Yuumi is still a possibility. There's still things like the Aurelia is still on the cards that hasn't been touched, and Kakarn has been someone who has enjoyed playing things like the Kennen consistently, not often drawing a first round ban, but a lot of options here for Enclave to touch, and they actually go for PFI's Elise.
Alrighty, well, we do see the Yasuo get taken away by Enclave as well, so they don't want to deal with Fury on that. What did Diabolus decide to first pick, though? What has been left open for them? The Nico, you see it quite a lot in the last few weeks here in the UK. Could go top, could go mid, could go ADC. Mostly been seeing it mid recently.
Quite a bit of top,
You're right
I'd
as
say.
well. Actually, we see a lot of
Did
it.
get nerfed a slight bit just on its AD and the levels, and I think more than the others, it hit it quite hard, because I've been playing it myself, and it's quite hard to CS on a tower now because your AD is so low, but still a very powerful pick. The team fight potential is huge, and a good flexible one to take right there and then. Enclave will take that Sivir. Remember, we said Dragdor loves playing Sivir and Ezreal. The Sivir is now off the table, and a lot of people don't like Ezreal into Sivir. Obviously, you can spell shield his 2-shot barrage or his mystic shot, so reduces the effectiveness of that, and very much is the scaling aspect of it, because a Sivir will outscale an Ezreal absolutely.
Alrighty, what do they decide to round this out though with? What are they looking to either put in I was going to say support, but like everything's open here. They're going to go for the Aatrox now. Another champion who's had a few changes. The World Ender is no longer a revive. Did have some buffs to his stats, and we actually got dumpstered by PFI when we were making a little patch notes video. We were like, play Aatrox, man, it's fine. And he was like, okay, cool. And he wasn't playing to kill. I was like, you can play to kill, it's okay, you can have fun. And he was like, okay,
kill.
And then he just 1v3s us.
Yeah, still very powerful, that champion, without the revive. Even more self-healing, even lower cooldown on the ultimate, so a lot of power there. But going over the side of Diabolus, they decided to take the Jarvan and the Yuumi. So this is a bit interesting to me, because I feel like there are a lot of picks available for PFI. The Olaf's still a possibility. But you prioritize taking his jungler, and then you take the Yuumi. And that does mean that you can't take Ezreal Yuumi as a combo. This does suggest to me a little bit that maybe they're looking at the Nico in the bot lane, because I don't know a reason why you would pick the Yuumi and then know that Enclave should ban away the Ezreal, because two of the big combos with the Yuumi is Ezreal Yuumi and Sivir Yuumi. When she first started getting played, those were the combos that everyone was playing in their games.
And actually, I just want to kind of rewind a little bit to the PFI picking up the Jarvan. If you look to that graphic we had earlier where we were talking about the difference between PFI, actually Jarvan was one of his most played in both seasons, so it is a comfort pick for him. It does provide some pretty hard engage for Diabolus, and now we're seeing Enclave look to grab themselves the Sylas. There's actually a lot of decent ults for him to steal away here so far already.
Yeah, did get nerfed quite a bit though. His late game before, it was a 15-second cooldown as Hijack. It's now 60 seconds at rank 3, which is a big hit, but he got some damage on his Q in return, so his early game's still strong. Unsurprisingly, we see the Ezreal taking off the cards, and then the Aurelia. Something that is still available. I'm not sure if Diabolus will practice it, but the Garen. And we saw Garen Yuumi be so effective, so that's still a possibility if Diabolus want to play it. Now that the Ezreal's taking off the cards.
All right, well, we still got one more ban before Diabolus look to try and round out their comp, what they decide to go for. You can take away that Akali. Remember, Sylas could still go jungle. This is the patch where his Kingslayer will heal him on large monsters as well. His shield, though, is now just a magic shield. It's not just a flat shield.
Did get a buff in his Q, though, base and ratio up, so I feel like his clear is still pretty fine. We'll be interested to see where that does end up panning out. Now, Enclave, I think you probably take the support here. It might be a bit risky not knowing the bot lane matchup, but you want to keep counter pick in the mid lane. They will look towards that Nautilus, so whatever gets picked for the side of Diabolus, Nautilus can do pretty well, because when you ult with Nautilus, you're guaranteed to knock up and CC that one target, and obviously Yuumi being inside will avoid it, but isn't really able to do much when her AD carry or whoever else is locked up.
Well, looks like they're looking towards a more conventional AD carry. We're not going to see the Garen so far. They might switch out. I want the Garen. I'm not going to lie. I really want the Garen.
The Garen
was great to watch.
looks like we will see the Lucian. So a bit of flexibility coming out because so much we saw Ezreal Sivir, and then if they were off the cards, Dragdor would play the Xayah. And instead he's gone for Lucian here, so wanting a bit more aggression, and you can really punish the Sivir in the laner phase on this pick.
You're right. Get very aggressive lane as well, as we're actually seeing Khan get his hands onto the Gnar. We saw Sendo just have an incredible game on that. Aggressive bot lane across the board, really, with the Nautilus. I feel Sivir obviously wants to farm away, but when you've got a Yuumi Lucian, they are able to jump on people.
It's interesting to see
relative comfort, really.
Yeah, it absolutely. I think that's the one thing that I say the asset to having the dash from Lucian means you are quite comfortable to, play around that. It's interesting because Khan to me has always been, I want to pick the Kennen consistently. He has moved towards the Gnar, and it's interesting to see how the priority sort of switched towards that pick in recent time. We do see a fairly standard Azir pick him out from Billy, and one big thing is that does pretty heavily outrange the Nico. It's quite hard to really do anything against the Azir just because you have to get close to impact him, and it's so easy for him to dash away and disengage. And even if you root him and try and use your Pop Blossom, he can just ult you away and you won't be able to connect.
Alrighty, well the team comps have been rounded out. A lot of teleports across the board. 6 teleports in this game.
Yeah, and obviously
we've been in such a teleport meta for ages
technically
now.
7 because the Heathen will be able to share it with a teammate. A lot of scaling over the side of Enclave. There's, the Sivir Azir is just monstrous in the later stages, and then that front line as well is going to be so hard to burn through. But on the side of Diabolus, they have a lot of early pressure. We've seen how Yuumi can be so oppressive. And then I'm looking to PFI. He has had some great stats so far. I'm looking him to impact the map early and set up his lanes, because I think if they wait until the 30-minute point, the game's going to be lost.
It's going to be a very hard battle to win if you play a little bit slower, but they have the tools to go aggressive early. They can set up top for big team fights. They can look just to set up the bot lane and snowball this Lucian, because we know Lucian is a champion who's famous for having such a powerful and kind of potent early game. So that's going to be the key watching point for me in this game, is where PFI is going to assert its pressure. I'd like to see it go towards the bot lane, look to shut down the Sivir before it can snowball.
I think bot lane is perfectly viable. I think top lane's an option as well. If you can get the Aatrox to overextend, you can easily jump on him. Mid lane, not so much. I think Azir is really hard to punish, unless Fury lands a great route, but you can't really rely on that for a gank.
Yeah.
I think the big thing for me is that the Lucian, you need to see him pop off and take the game.
What are you doing down there, Rosens?
And then one of the big things for me is that if Yuumi connects her Prowling Projectile and slows you, and then Dragdor looks for a culling, that will absolutely murder you. So if he does get ahead, there'll be a lot of potential picks that can come out from this combo.
And is this the Cleaver Lucian, or is it the Essence Reaver, kind of more crit-orientated Lucian?
I don't think people really go the Cleaver anymore at all. Just a lot of changes the Essence Reaver put up in priority. The two big disparities are basically, do you go Blade of the Ruined King into Essence Reaver, or do you just go Essence Reaver first and foremost? I think the Blade of the Ruined King first is better for the early game, because obviously it gives a lot of one-item power in that spike. But it does mean your scaling's a little bit weaker. But in this game, I feel like you lose out on the scaling anyway, so you need to apply that early pressure. And if you go for the Blade of the Ruined King, you will outdamage Kevo for the early levels.
Well, early Boomerang Blade's going to come out, just connecting onto one as this gets turned back around. We are in the early stages, some would say, as we're only 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that's pretty early.
That is, yeah.
You're not wrong about that. Obviously, you did see a lot of changes to the Yuumi, so no longer gets mana back from using the passive. And on top of that, they nerfed the mana cost for her Prowling Projectile. So if you keep looking for poke on the enemy team, especially when Kevo can spell shield it, you will quickly burn through your mana and just be unable to do anything. And that's a good instance of it. You use a Prowling Projectile at level 1, it costs 70 mana now. You don't have the passive to get it back, and you've essentially just given Kevo free mana because he spell shielded it.
You can also, with that Grasp the Undying, it's just going for a bit of a trade. Last time we actually saw Sender on the Airy. Few people kind of moving away from the Fleet Footwork days, where that was the kind of one of the staple Gnar runes.
I think Airy works pretty well into range versus range matchups because it gives the extra trading power up against something, like the Kennen. Up against a melee champion like the Aatrox, you can just pretty easily stack it up, but he's actually in a bit of trouble here. Long trade, and remember, Rengus has Conqueror, so the longer the trade goes on, the more it's going to benefit him.
Khan was able to get a bit of healing from that grasp and semi-trade back. The manaless top lane as well, which are always quite fun ones where everybody is just spamming abilities endlessly because they, you know, Nara only has to worry about his bar.
Pretty much. It's quite low on HP now. Remember, there's a lot more sustain over to Rengis, just innately from his kit. And that means when you go for a heavy trade like that, you're going to come out on the back end because unless you're just proccing your grasp consistently, you're going to struggle. And you can already see they're pretty similar in terms of HP after that first trade. But now, Rengis is just way further ahead.
So, Orcs.
Yep.
You went to school, right?
Yes.
Cool. What book did you study in GCSEs? You know, everyone had that GCSE book. What was your one? Mine was of Mice and Men.
Yeah, I did have Mice and Men well.
Because some people had, I think it was The Tempest was one.
I think we did Holes as well.
What was the other one? Was it How to Kill a Mockingbird?
Maybe. I think, was it in A-level? I think people did like Great Expectations. I didn't do A-level.
I didn't do A-level. But... And weird, because English, funnily enough, was the one I did best in school.
Oh, fair.
I don't know how.
Here's one
I can't speak.
Cool.
Go on then.
What book are you currently reading? Or would like to read?
I'm not reading any books. I'm really bad with books, actually. I know you're a big reader. I'm actually a terrible reader. Partly because I'm dyslexic as hell.
Yeah, no,
Second of all, I'm really lazy with books. Like, there's some books I know I would enjoy but can't commit to. And Kakan is committing to potentially dying here because he is playing with absolute danger. But
wait, he's come back in.
Scoot is coming forward. He does have the ability. He flashes forward. That's just going to be an easy crab picked up for PFI. Thought Scoot stole that one away, and PFI now is going to make his way out. But what rough trade there as PFI now just jumps onto Rengis.
Yeah, he stacked his conqueror. He's just beating him down.
He's just murdering him. Well, that one better than it should have for Diabolus.
Thank you, Listriger. Filled us in here. So these are all the books done at GCSE. An Inspector Calls, Of Mice and Men, Macbeth, A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Secret Garden, and Good Night, Mr. Tom is what he did.
I love The Secret Garden.
It's what he all did at GCSE.
That was a good book. I think that was like the last book I ever read.
Maybe we should have some, one day when, you know, have a bit of a slow game, we should bring in a book, one of those books, and do some readings.
Yeah, should we just do a reading stream?
Yeah, we'll do Off Mice and Men. And you can be Lenny.
The flash forward. Oh! We're talking about books while Heathen's finding first blood in the bot lane.
Yeah, Heathen opens up the book and closes on Raisins, just stomps in.
Cat gets the book kill.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but Night Cat and Book Cat. How many more cats have we got in League of Legends? Ari? She's more a fox, though.
I mean, Nidalee's technically a cat when she transforms.
She's a cougar.
Which is a cat.
And not the kind you find at a club.
A cougar... a cougar is a breed of cat, you know.
You are right. They're big cats, though.
Yeah. Which are still cats. What, so you're saying Rengar's a house cat? Is that what you're trying to imply?
Yeah, I give my cats knives all the time, and they jump out of bushes. So, give me a book. What book should I read?
Are you asking me? Asking Twitch
Yeah, I know
chat?
you like to read books. Actually, yeah, guys at home, tweet at me, at HitPrainCast. Make sure you follow me.
Sapiens is a really good book.
Sapiens? What's it about?
It's about basically the history of humans going back for a very long time. It's just really well written. Just goes and deep dives into so many interesting things about the development of the human race, through civilization, just, you know, through our sort of recent age when we became, you know, more advanced than just hunter-scavengers. It's really interesting.
If Chronicler recommends that book that he's named after, I'm going to be not surprised, actually, to be honest. That's kind of what I'd expect. I can see him in the chat. I can't read it because it's on the other side of the room from me.
This cast is a can of boring, Thank you very much.
Who said that?
Coach Hybrid. I appreciate it. I guess he doesn't like reading, you know? That's all I can take.
I thought coaches were intellectuals, but I guess I'm wrong.
Well, we have the true intellectual in this game, Coach.
Coach.
That's not a typo. Diabolus Coach is called Coach. Just in case you forget.
Is he named after the bus, though? The big bus? Or is he named after...
That's the question.
It's been a slow start.
It's been a slow start.
Oh, Lord.
Ugh.
What else can we talk about? I had a list, but I've left it at home of like just topics. You remember my kitchen discussion last week?
Honestly, thinking about it, Orc is Lenny and Hipbrain is George.
Wait, is George the smart one?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I feel like our producer, Borja, is the dude who has the Vaseline glove. The final chapter is going to get used here. Onto Raisins, the root in place, the knocker comes down. Raisins is taken out as Dragdar does pick that kill up. Diabolus, solid start towards the bot side of the map. 1-0-1 on both support and AD carry.
Yeah, and it's what you need to do. You want to get this bot lane snowball, and you talked about it before the game. Lucian Yumi can take over the map if needs be, and they've been punishing Raisins right now. He was the matchup to watch between him and the Heathen, and he's 0-2-0, all of the deaths to the side of Enclave. And we said this is a matchup stacked towards Diabolus. They have had a better 3 weeks going towards this, but we have had some hopeful signs from Enclave, but this is not a good omen.
Yeah, I mean, Raisins just stepping up. You know, he just wanted to pet the rabbits, George. I may have stolen that from Twitch chat. This is dangerous. This is really dangerous, the fact I can see what you guys at home are saying.
Really feel like the UKLC banter went downhill after that bloke Chronicler left. Said by Chronicler. Oh, well, I agree completely.
I'm not going to lie. I can't disagree. Also, you know, it doesn't feel right, you know. You not kicking Scoundrel in the fruit and veg.
Well, Scoundrel's gone on to bigger and better things. You will actually be seeing... In fact, that's one thing that we can talk about. So Scoundrel is actually going to be hosting on the LEC this weekend. And so obviously a lot of you have seen him, grown up with him on the UKC, and he's been here for a long time. So I just want to say, I would love for everyone here to show him a lot of support when he goes up there on that big stage. Because I know he'd appreciate it, but he's part of the UKC and he has been for a long time, but he's getting his big chance to show up in Europe. So send your love out to him, because I'm going to be excited to see him up there.
Yeah, if you want to send your love to him, make sure you use the hashtag fruit and veg.
He's just going to have no idea what we're talking about. He's going, like, why is everyone at me fruit and veg and saying good luck?
Oh, I love it.
Ugh.
Is that Raisins is getting really bullied by this kitty cat here.
I mean, that's the difficulty if you're playing a Nautilus. If you're not in... Oh, he'd already dived inside like half a second ago. But
so
if you're playing the Nautilus, if you can't find an engage, you're basically just a meat shield, and not a very good one at that. They're going to walk up again, but PFI is going to look for an engage.
Yeah, PFI is coming in for the gank. The two-man Cataclysm. Instant Zonyas by Raisins as Dragdar is going to get his ulti stolen away. That's the culling as Dragdar goes gold and PFI is trying to get out. That's going to be 1-2 kills. They're already in the fight. The ulti comes down by Fury, but finds no one. Scoot gets a lockup and the knockdown. Triple kill picked up for the jungler from Enclave. And now Fury is getting chased down by Beely. He has sand spears going straight into him, and Fury making a grand escape. Not going to be able to get out yet, but the blast cone will provide him his escape. But Beely does have that flash. Might chase for more. He's coming forward. Has got that flash, holding it for the moment. Oh, what a flash by Beely! Fury is going to go golden with his own Zonyas. It's all been burnt, and the Meteor will take him down. Beely secures the kill. Enclave, what a start!
What a turnaround. They knew the dive was coming from the side of Diabolus. Scoot comes in. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of stopwatches burned, but in the end, this Silas gets a triple kill, and that is absolutely not the sort of jungler you want to give all that gold. And now, Infernal's up, Enclave are heading over. They want to start this objective off.
PFI might try and steal this away. The rest of the team are coming in. Teleport's coming down. Diabolus looking to close in and go for the fight. PFI, no Cataclysm available to him. It's 3v4. The teleports are coming in by Kakan, though. He's joining up with the rest of his team. The flag over the wall. The dragon has been stolen and taken away by PFI. Scoot flashes away from the fight. The hook is going to be there, and it's enough for Raisins to get himself away with a grand escape, but the rest of Diabolus are thirsty for blood. The boomerang comes down, and Raisins goes down. Diabolus bite back.
Just as Enclave make a great play, some really strong performances, they end up falling short against Diabolus. A great steal coming in from PFI, and now Kevo.
This is Kevo getting surrounded on all fronts. Kakan looking to stack up, but about to gnaw out. Rengus joins up with his bot laner here. It looks like Diabolus will just be able to take away a few plates for free here.
4 members. They got to care for that Mega Gnar. It looks like Rengis is feeling pretty confident to step forwards.
They won't be giving up too much. PFI gets caught out by the Infernal Chains. The knockup's not there, but Scood is on that flank. He's looking to come in for the chase. Beely gets himself the slide, glide, and divide down. 1 kill's already been picked up for Enclave. Now they're chasing for more. The Cataclysm, he's even in place. And Scood, once again, comes up massive for Enclave. It's their turn to take some plates and potentially first turret blood.
And just as you're saying this is a slow game, talking about reading habits, Enclave and Diabolus are going back and forth. One team makes a play, then the other, and then it's back again. And Enclave, they're going full force. They find a great engage from the TP from Beely, and they're going to look to get this tower as a reward.
They might just be able to get some plates in the mid lane as well here for Enclave, as the plate falls off just in time. Unlucky for them, but a solid start for Enclave.
Yeah,
team who were on
absolutely.
0 points.
They were on 0 points. They really, I said myself, it looks Diabolus favored. If you just looked at the scoreline, if you look at the stats, Diabolus are the better team on paper, but Enclave has shown that that's just absolutely not true. And the big talking point has to be Beely and Scood. Scood having some great performances in those skirmishes, but Beely, that flank, which is absolutely stellar. And as you said, his last split looked underwhelming, and not just because he was on a team that got relegated, he just didn't look that good, but now he has really looked on form.
Really, really looking incredible so far here as we're looking at the junglers just farming away. And by the junglers, I mean just PFI. Fury's going to be gifted over the blue buff and a great bounce back. And I want to actually have a little bit of a focus on Scood here. 4-0-1 on the Silas jungle. And he was actually quite a bigged up jungler coming into the season. And he's been underwhelming so far. It's safe to say he's on a team with 0 points. And now looking really, really solid for his team. We'll have to see if he can continue to play this well. Yeah, he's a player that a lot of people had hype on. He actually won the Insomnia up against Enclave, and then they picked him up, and he's had a solid performance so far this game, but it looks like Diabolus are going to take this top tower. The minion wave will die out, so they won't get it quite yet, but in return, Enclave, they are pathing towards that mid lane. And remember that tower, they only got Fury defending. He has a lot of wave clear, but not that much wave clear. Yeah, they're barreling towards it. Fury trying to clear out these minions as quick as possible. Scood has got himself the chains available, but he's not going to throw them towards Fury just yet. The tower will crumble in the mid. The sand tower comes up next. Diabolus, slow to the punch, will lose the tower race. It's 2-for-1 in favor of Enclave. A 1,000 gold lead in favor of Enclave. And I have to see what Diabolus can do to kind of pull this back. Yeah, remember what we said at the start of this game going into it in the Champs Leg? The scaling is favoring towards Enclave. They have an Azir and a Sivir. When you think late game fantasy, those are the champions you think of. 400 CS Sivir win condition? Win condition, you got me, thank you. 400 CS Sivir win condition is not just a meme, it's a reality. And that is something that Enclave may not even need to play to if they're starting to get a gold lead this early on. Mid-game is really where I want to see Diabolus find some momentum and return into the Pot Blossom. Raisins, Kevo spell shields it, but gets cataclysmed in. He just stepped forward. The depth charge comes down and Kevo will fall. A culling to the back of the head secures Dragdar a double kill. It's a great performance coming out from Fury. He sets up the bait and he manages to catch out both members of the bot lane, and Raisins on a matchup to watch is really struggling this game. Kevo actually inted there. He tried to spell shield the Pot Blossom to get some mana back, but then just set him up to get Cataclysm by PFI. If he just ran away, he would have been okay. He would have been fine. You don't have your flash, and that's one of the big reasons why this Jarvan's so effective into the Sivir, because once you're Cataclysmed, if you don't have that summoner spell, you're just trapped. Next Dragon will be an Infernal. Enclave would love to equalize. Diabolus would love to get a second, because that would make the scaling less of an issue going further into the game. Seeker Khan, with that Demolish, is stepping up towards this tower. Looking to take this down, and he's able to chunk it out really, really effectively so far. Diabolus now grouping up, looking for something onto Beely potentially, but he's going to be hard to pin down. Sand Pigeon is pretty hard to catch. Scoot gets slowed, steals away the Pot Blossom, so he has that to work with. Definitely one of the stronger ults to be able to take, and a great one leading into the fight that's going to be around this Infernal. Poke coming out from Heathen is going to be pretty impactful. They're going to drag the Dragon out and try and start. Remember, PFI stole the last Infernal. If he did it again, it would be huge for Diabolus, but looks like they might just take a fight. He throws down the flag. just to see if he can spot out how much HP it's on. Kakan now barreling in. The slow's going to come down. Dragon gets reset. Scoot steps forward. Kakan gets locked down. That's going to be the pop blossom. The flash forward will pin him in place. A chain lash to the head, and Kakan is down. Now the flagging dragging forward. In comes the second pop blossom. Oh, the 4 members! It's absolutely massive. Kevo, he's going to go down now. A double kill been picked up for Dragdar. The slow's connecting onto Enclave. They've still got members to work with. Raisins gets out with a sliver of HP. Dragdar finds a triple kill, and Enclave has to somehow 2v3 to save versus this Infernal, but they may just give it up.
Yeah, no smite available from either side, so this could get a bit dicey, but Fury,
that's the
he's
slow,
looking
that's
for
the
it.
Infernal chains. Beely has his Sand Soldiers to work with. Dragdar steps forward.
They
That's
get
going
him!
to be the shutdown. Beely gets it. The turnaround. Rengus gets himself one. He's looking for the Heathen as well. A double kill for Rengus. And Enclave, they are not done. They want this Infernal Drake. The heat has been turned up.
And Beely and Rengus come up huge. This whole solo laners from Enclave managed to 2v3. Dragdar got overhyped because of that triple kill he got, and in return, they managed to capitalize on it, and they also are going to pick up this Infernal Dragon. Scoot's coming down. I think they want to wait for the smite. They have to be careful.
Kakan, he's actually coming with a flank. Didn't teleport. Oh no, sorry. I'm on the other side of the map. I completely molded up where red and blue side spawn.
Yeah, red is on the right, blue is on the left. Got it?
On the left.
Left, yeah, left. On the left. So, obviously a lot to break down in that fight. The gold lead is still only slightly in favor of Enclave. They'd actually managed to turn it around there. But a lot of gold got funneled onto Dragdar. He's gone the full crit build, better for scaling, a lot of auto attack damage with that Infinity Edge and the Essence Reaver. But he got shut down there. And Enclave, as you said before, they have the scaling composition. The fact they're going toe-to-toe right now, that's what really concerns me for Diabolus' hopes further into this game. And this is a big week for them to try and secure some points on the board and start to catch up with the big dogs. Because remember, M&M and Fnatic are two of their big teams to beat, and one of them is going to be getting knocked out in the next match.
They're definitely on a rough side of the bracket as well. M&M, Fnatic. This is a really solid side of the bracket. It's a dangerous side of the bracket. But if you look at the other side as well, some of the kind of things we can talk about and look towards is the likes of teams like Darkspawn. It's actually Raisins is taking a full culling. Not going to go down though. They might just look to try and take out this turret. Scoot is on the flank. Does have himself a final chapter.
Yeah, and speaking of which, there's a really solid selection of ults for Scoot to steal. Pop Blossom's great. Cataclysm's really effective. Kakan's Gnaw is huge. The fact that you don't have to be mega to use is a big one. But one big thing to remember is that the AD to AP ratio conversion did get nerfed on Sylas in this patch.
Demise, not Darkspawn. My bad. Darkspawn are gone. Demise. They have a really good side of the bracket. As I just step back to correct myself. Rengus actually just popped the ulti onto Kakan here. He's looking to try and chase, but Kakan, with that recurve bow, actually doing a serious amount of damage to Rengus.
Which is interesting. I mean, he's picked up the null magic, so he's most likely going towards a Wit's End as well, which it does mean your hyperprocs do a ton of damage. But the MR not really going to help you too much against an Aatrox. But you saw already, despite the fact that Rengus managed to pick up all those kills, he's down in CS and struggling a bit in the 1v1, even with the use of his ult.
All right, well, there's been some very hypey plays for the last few moments, but now both these teams stepping down, calming down, because...
Now we can go back to talking about Bucks. No,
I thought you said butts there. I was like,
Bucks. Or if you want me to say it in my true accent,
Books.
Books. I like to read books. A kook book.
Kook book. Do you know any good cookbooks?
Oh, I actually do.
You actually do.
I got this Ken Holmes Oriental cookbook.
Oh, okay.
It's actually really good. It has some great dishes in, and it's like a big. Because my parents, so they had a Chinese friend at school, and he recommended this Ken Holmes book, and they've kept it since university. This small book, and they still use it now. And then when I went away to university, they got me this big new modernized version by the same person, and it's stellar.
I did not expect a serious answer.
Well, you know, I'm a serious guy, always, especially when I knock over whiteboards and such.
Rugby tackle whiteboards. While you're thinking about cookbooks.
Yep.
What kind of book is Yumi flying on? Is there actually a lore reason for that? Or is she just on a book?
I think it's like some sort of magical spell.
I assume it's a magical spell book and not a cookbook.
I mean, my cat would be more focused on a cookbook. She just loves food, so... Most cats pretty fond of food.
All right, well, Diabolus have set a pretty solid line of vision up. It's not too aggressive into Enclave's jungle at the moment, but it would take a fair amount of investment from Enclave to actually clear out a lot of the vision being placed down previously. As Kaká needs to be careful. That Infernal Chains will pull him in. Rengus pops the World Ender. The Gnar back, and it looks like Kaká will get a wallop and a hop away to safety as Rengus unable to chase him down. Big exchange of ultis, but the key thing is like you said, the Gnar ult is on a shorter cooldown than that World Ender.
Yeah, the one advantage Rengus does have is he has all that spell vamp / lifesteal / just healing coming out from the death stance. So we will be able to heal up to full. And Kaká is a bit low on HP. Not going to be as strong in this 1v1, but yeah, if a team fight comes up, Kaká's going to be in better shape since that World Ender is down. Those, remember, have a shorter cooldown since the patch changes. So actually, it's not going to be down for too much longer. I think that's why Rengus felt so comfortable just popping it wherever he wants, because it's already 2/3 of the way of the cooldown done.
Yeah. Actually would be, it's only just a little bit slower than Kaká, who now just got his ulti back, so makes sense. As the Mountain Drake is spawning up, this is going to be a big one, because I feel both teams are going to be wanting to put a lot of pressure onto this Baron, and it's going to help them massively.
Khan's Mega is just timed out.
That's actually the Gnar stolen away by Scoot. He misses out. A 4-man Cataclysm comes down by PFI into a massive Pop Blossom. The fight is already massive on all fronts. Beely gets the slide, Clyde divide down. And Rengus is running through everybody on Diabolus. It looked like the fight was done, but they are not done at all as they're taking down everybody on Diabolus. The full ace for Enclave.
And it looked like a great engage, a 4-man Cataclysm into the Pop Blossom. But stopwatches and Zhonya's came in clutch for the side of Enclave. Everyone valuable in that Cataclysm managed to survive it. Apart from Raisins, but like I said, everyone valuable.
I almost said the fight is done and won for Diabolus mid-fight. Then somehow Enclave find a massive turnaround. A wombo combo by Diabolus was just not enough to pull that win out.
Stopwatches looked good, and Beely both had stopwatches for that fight. Managed to evade all of the damage coming out from that Pop Blossom, and that essentially allowed them to turn the fight around. They just chased down Diabolus, and this is a point where I'm starting to get really concerned about scaling, because that is where Diabolus were on the stronger point of their composition. They had the mid-game advantages. Gnar was bulky, Lucian was strong. We will be able to get a breakdown. So the Cataclysm comes in, and then Beely and... I think actually Scoot just flashed out. Beely managed to stopwatch it. Scoot did end up using his stopwatch earlier, I believe, but it's just a great cleanup coming in. And Rengus, once you start getting resets on this Aatrox, you heal so much, you can't get taken down, and drag dodges as much as you could, but when you get that critical sweet spot, there's very little you can do.
We can see the Mountain Drake also got picked up on Enclave's side on the return end of that as well.
Now Enclave are in control. They have the Baron buff, and the siege potential off an Azir and a Sivir is so strong.
Well, looks like Enclave will just be able to group up here, take down this turret nice and simple.
$4,000 gold lead, just shy of it, over the Enclave. Now look at the gold discrepancies. Still dragged on miles ahead of Kevo, but eventually that isn't going to be enough. We know how strong the Sivir is going to be in the late stages of the game. I think Diabolus might potentially look for a pick here on Rengus, but instead they're going to back off and try and cover mid. That tower is taking a lot of damage from Beely.
And it's really hard to sort them out because they've got their own tower to hide behind, where they can reset the wave aggro and just play nice and safe against Diabolus' defense here. Azir can be so effective in these sieges, as that's going to be that turret going down. Rengus able to take that out. Open inhibitor in the mid lane, and Diabolus needs to find some kind of a miracle pull as Scoot takes away the Pop Blossom. He is ready to pull that trigger when he wants.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you have to take an engage at some point if you're on the side of Diabolus, because if you don't go for it, you're just going to lose your entire base. That tower behind them is getting very low on HP. Eventually, it's not going to be a factor. But for now, they will lose that mid inhibitor. Fury sending his clone out to try and bait out Enclave. Nothing much to come from it, but that mid inhibitor's down. It looks like they're going to start to move over to the bot side to assist Rengus. Can't hit Mega. But unless they look for an engage now, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, Khan does get pulled back in by Rengus and takes a little bit of damage. And still got Baron to work with for a little bit longer here for Enclaves. Now they're just going to look to base up, spend the gold they earn. They haven't even cracked the tier 1 in the top side, so aren't able to actually push that wave in. So maybe we'll see someone go up there, just try and crack a little bit more of a gold advantage, and mainly so they can set up for a siege in multiple lanes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is there's no burden on the side of Enclave to go over aggressive. Scoo just going to use a Pop Blossom to clear out some waves. Again, something that did get nerfed with Silas is you can't hold on to the ult for as long on this patch. But right now, Enclave, they still have 30 seconds on that Baron buff. They're going to start taking towers in the top lane. I don't think they're going to be able to get much more in terms of base cracking. But it's not on them to get a load done with this Baron. They have the scaling composition. They're going to be stronger in the later stages. The fact that they've taken so much and gotten such a big gold lead already, it just really does not look good for Diabolus. They need a miracle to find this one back. But right now, they are looking towards that mid tower. But I don't think Enclave are going to stop to defend. They're just going to keep pushing.
Yeah, this is a very dangerous base race to have here. When you think about the fact that they're pushing into super minions, into a very powerful team that was sieging. The bases are coming down by Enclave. They cancel them out and they look to siege even further here. We might actually have another base race on in game 2 of week 4. Teleports are coming in. It looks like the flank's going to break out. That's going to be the on the hunt use. The
Double
inhibitor
teleport.
not been cracked quite yet, and PFI is looking for it. Fury comes in. That's going to be the Pop Blossom. The Gnar to disengage. Scoot goes golden. They try to lock them down inside the final chapter. A big Gnar comes out by Kakan already. It's one kill. Picked
Rengus
up by
is here.
Diabolus. Dragdar's trying to find that damage. It's already getting turned around. A big Shurima shuffle comes down by Beely. He gets the shield and he gets PFI. He gets out alive. That's going to be Kakan launching onto him. Dragdar's trying to get the damage down, but Rengus with the World Ender is doing oh so much damage. It will time out and he has to make his way away. Diabolus may just have found that big opening we were talking about. He has got himself the Deathbringer stance, but a shutdown gets picked up by Kakan. Diabolus finds the ace and Enclave throw the game out the window.
They had to find that team fight at that exact moment before they started to lose too much of their base. They managed to get a ton of gold in terms of shutdown. 900 went over to Kakan for that kill onto Rengus, and Rengus was huge in that team fight, but he joined a bit late, and the person who's even more impressive was Dragdar. This Lucian Yumi combo just seemed unstoppable, dashing around the fight, dishing out damage, and the healing has even been buffed on this patch, and you could see it there, just getting so much free HP on the back of those zoomies.
Oh, Enclave have to take back to the Rift, their heads down low after losing a pretty horrible team fight for them, throwing away a massive chunk of that gold lead. It's only 2k separating both of these teams, and next Drake is spawning up soon. We expect to see probably some more action get thrown down here as they're desperately trying to funnel some farm onto Kevo. He needs to hit this kind of power spike. Next Drake's Infernal as well, so a double Infernal for either team is going to be a big, big win here.
Absolutely, and we said the scaling is in favor of Enclave, but if you find the right team fight opportunities, if you find the backline access, Diabolus can win the team fights, but the second Infernal may swing things more in Enclave's favor, and it's going to be uncontested. Diabolus in return are going to head over to the Baron, but it's still not actually spawned yet, so
it's a risky race to even try and take it, as they might just look to try and push this turret in that top side.
this is
a big wave to work with.
You know, before they had timers in the client, this is the sort of situation where I'd ask, have Diabolus messed up the timers? Because they went there very early, but has spawned now. Enclave have already finished Infernal Drake. They've cleared out mid-wave, and they're going to probably head over and clear some vision here
To be
around the
fair
area.
to Diabolus, they won that team fight with a lot of teleports being used and a lot of flanks being used. They didn't have quite the resources they had last time, so they set up the vision. You can already see there's wards inside the jungle of Enclave, so they have those flank wards for Kakan to use this time. So I can understand maybe why Diabolus just went in to go set up the wards. They feel the Infernal, it's bad, but it's not the end of the world. A Baron is game-ending for them at this point in the game, so they step away. Now Diabolus are going to step forward and just try and clear out some more vision, place some more deep wards to allow Kakan to use this. He is in that bot lane, currently quite happily just pushing away on that Gnar. Got the Frozen Mallet, got the Cleaver, got the Wit's End, working towards that GA. So pretty similar build to what we saw from Sendo in game 1. Enclave now are able to step forward, but PFI jumps in. That's going to be the on the hunt. They try to CC PFI for ages. Fury gets knocked up in the final chapter inside everybody. That's going to be a big Cataclysm. Rengus jumps in. 2 Cataclysms have been thrown down, but Rengus is ripping through the team. Fury finds himself a one-man Pop Blossom, but Beely is still full HP. Has so many Sand Soldiers to work with. The trade is just 2 for 2 so far, and both of the teams are going to step back and just calm down a little bit.
Yeah, big thing there was that he then got caught outside of a target, so was able to get shut down by Rengus. And now team's on the opposite side. Feely's going to build up a tower, so he should be okay. But actually, Kakan.
Kakan could be in for a little bit of hurt here. That's going to be a slow. That's going to be a root. In comes Kakan potentially. Beely slides out of the fight. Rengus tries to get himself the knockup. He's low HP and the shutdown gets picked up by Dragdar. He finds himself a double kill. Beely has soldiers to work with for days, but they might just go for the dive. They might just go for the kill. Kakan has gnarred out and Beely is forced to base. This could just be Baron for Diabolus.
Yeah, they're going to go look for it. PFI is going to actually respawn a little bit slower than Scoot. So Scoot's heading over right now. No smite available for Diabolus. And they're not the ones with the mountain. They're still going to do this pretty fast.
Scoot can steal the Gnar as well, which will be really, really big for them. So we'll have to see if he can get there in time. He's clearing out the wards. It's 5k HP onto that Baron. Scoot stepping forward. He's not even willing to go for the risk with PFI back on the map. And this is just going to be Baron picked up for Diabolus. Enclave be taking some questionable team fights versus Diabolus, and that's a Baron buff over to Diabolus, who are looking to bounce back into this game. The gold lead is 1,000 between them.
Yeah, and it was really solid play from Fury there to find the fight on the back end. But Dragdar's the one who's been just absolutely massive in these team fights. Full build now on this Lucian. 100% crit and got that mortal reminder to cut down the healing from Rengus. He's monstrous, especially with the Heathen backing him up. Right now, sitting at just shy of 400 AP, 400 AD, sorry, with the extra stats from the Yuumi. He's doing so much damage. And yeah, we said Enclave have the scaling, but they're behind in gold and they're just not finding the team fights. This gold difference between the AD carries has been massive as well. And one big asset to the side of Diabolus is that they have a full tank job in the jungle. He doesn't need gold, so they can split it between the other carries more reliably. And that Yuumi is way more impactful than Raisins right now in these later stages.
Yeah, Raisins hasn't really been able to find like a major big ult in the last team fight, sorry. He ulted Fury, who actually didn't knock anyone up but himself. He just stood off on the edge, and then as soon as it wore off, jumped into the fight with a big Pop Blossom. It's very, very hard for Enclave to find those key targets. Now, they do have a fair amount of wave clear. It's actually fairly hard for Diabolus to push into them.
I feel like Raisins just has to ult Dragdar whenever he can. I feel like that is the one person you need to shut down because he's just ice skating around these team fights, gunning everyone down, and there's very little Enclave can do because they don't have any targeted hard CC apart from Raisin's ult. And if you don't lock him down, he's just going to skate around your front line and demolish them.
The question is what will Diabolus get with 1 minute 50 left on the Baron? Mid lane turret is going to be guaranteed, and Kevo gets slowed and the culling thrown onto him. Very low HP. Inhibitor will fall nice and fast here, along with the top lane tower as well. Rengus wants to try and zone a little bit more before any more damage is done, but Kevo now back on the map with full HP. Scoot steals away the Gnar.
He has
it's
flash
his
as
moment.
well.
He has flash. They have to make this play happen. They have to try and find this turnaround. Otherwise, Diabolus will have done everything they need to pull this game back. For the moment, it's just wave clear duty. They're playing with complete fear of Diabolus' turnaround, of damage that they're capable of doing. The inhib will hold its life for the moment, but how long can it hold is the question.
Yeah, and a lot of respect paid towards Scoot with that Gnar. Looks like they're going to move Fury to the side, but actually...
Oh, misses out on the chains, but does get a lot of damage off. He does have that Gnar to work with. The Pop Blossom's there. The Cataclysm comes down. Scoot goes golden, and Raisins is looking to join in. Lands himself a hook as Scoot jumps back out. That's going to be the big ulti by Raisins. Down 3 members are going to get caught out, but Kakan, he gets his own Gnar onto Scoot. Only lands it onto 1. That final chapter's still not been used, but Beely is onto the side, putting a lot of damage out. The res is coming down from the GA. One quick kill is going to be guaranteed here for Enclave as the tower is erected for Enclave, and they barrel towards the Elder Drake.
Yeah, Elder Dragon would be huge. Double Infernal on the mountain. That's as good as it can get. Looks like PFI is going to head up, and they're actually going to TP. They're looking for a backdoor right now.
This could be the backdoor for Diabolus. They're going for it. A teleport's coming out by at least Beely. It's going to be Kevo. He has a lot of wave clear, but he's very, very squishy. And PFI is extremely tanky. Beely has joined up with the rest of the team. Elder Drake has been picked up, and now they have to go for the fight. Raisins is going to get slowed down, but he lands himself a hook onto 1. The soldiers are doing a lot, and the Pop Blossom not even going to be enough to go here as Beely flashes over the wall. Enclave somehow hold on to the base. Their turret will remain standing, but they lost a lot for that.
They lost a lot, but they got the Elder Dragon buff. The game should be in their control right now, and Diabolus have to walk away, licking their wounds.
Double Inferno and a Mountain onto Enclave. Teleport's going to be up fairly soon for Kakan. It is a dangerous situation. If there's a ward around the base, which there are 2 currently, Kakan could potentially make a backdoor happen here.
Yeah,
although they're timing out.
Would need the minion waves, I think, is the big thing.
Yes.
There still is a turret standing for the side of Enclave. And now, 4 items on a Kevo. And the problem is, Dragdor, he's been so impactful in these team fights, he's not getting any stronger. He has 1 more level to gain, but other than that, he's been full build for a while, and so it just leaves an opportunity for Kevo to catch up in terms of items. And that's the really scary thing, especially when you have this double Infernal backing you up, and the Elder Dragon on top of that. And remember, even if they don't win the game of this Elder, the next one will just make them unstoppable.
Oh boy. This game is really, really starting to heat up. Diabolus definitely being pushed to their limits by a team who, you know, there's been questions raised about throughout all of the summer split as Diabolus just sending out the Spoopy Ghost, looking to try and find out where Enclave are hiding.
Big thing is that the Elder Dragon buff doesn't last very long, the first one. So they're now going to head into this bot wave and try and apply pressure, because obviously Enclave have to deal with the super minion waves pushing in. But right now, Scoot is actually just split in top lane. I think he's going to look for these inhibitors. They are sending Fury back to deal with him. Looks like Khan's going to start channeling the recall as well.
Remember, there's a lot of wave clear on Enclave, so it's hard to push. Those bases have been cancelled out for the moment.
They can just stop their recalls, and he might be able to backdoor these inhibs. He's already getting one.
At least get one. There's a serious amount of damage to it. The bases have still not gone through. That is going to be at least one coming out, but Kakan jumps in. Rengus gets jumped onto. The World Ender has been used. He gets himself a knockup, trying to get that sustained through. He's got a lot of life still to work with, and PFI uses the Cataclysm onto him. The healing is massive. Raisin sacrifices himself for the team, but they are going for the backdoor. They're trying to see if they can make it happen.
They're going to do it!
And Beely are on. Enclave find their first win, taking down Diabolus in style. Our second backdoor of the day. Enclave get the win.
What a performance. I mean, we saw Scoot split push, and we just thought he's going to take the inhibitors and that's it. But they make the call. They look for the engage. Rengar survives so long, and then Beely comes in to finalize it. And Diabolus, who have looked so good for the first 3 weeks, they fall in the round of 8 against Enclave, who just put a stamp on them in that game.
Enclave definitely had weaknesses, though, there. And we saw Diabolus' strength. They were able to spot out those weaknesses and take good team fights. But a lapse in judgment cost them a game, but they were pulling back.
Yeah, absolutely. They, by all means, had opportunities to win that game, but they just gave them away again and again. And Enclave, they had strong scaling, but it didn't really come down on it in the end. It was some good decision-making from them, particularly Scoot with that backdoor attempt was just marvelous. But as you said, both teams looked like they definitely had issues. And our next match, which is M&M against Fnatic Rising, these are 2 of our top teams. And it's a hard ask for Enclave to go up against them, but they'll be able to learn a lot from that next one. But they've just got to be happy with getting through the round of 8, especially against a team like Diabolus. It's not the easiest matchup by any means, and it wasn't an easy match, but they earned that win.
I feel like if you were Enclave looking at this round of 8, you went, wow, this is a really rough round of 8. And they actually managed to get himself a win. Now, Diabolus are currently, I believe, 4th. In the standings, and then it's Demise just below them. So they beat out the top 4th team, but now they've got to take on either potentially 2nd or 3rd in M&M or Fnatic Rising, depending who wins the next matchup.
Not a great selection, but they've proven that they can make an upset here. They definitely can do it again.
Well, we're going to have to find out who they will be playing in tomorrow's semi-finals, because after the break, we've got M&M versus Fnatic Rising, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a second.